Right now at noon, officials released the identities of 2 victims killed after a car crashed into the Willamette River. Plus, a man accused of stabbing a woman outside a bar in the Pearl District makes his first court appearance. How police were able to track him down months after the incident. Then, after nearly 6 years out of the public eye, local leaders are celebrating the return of the Thompson Elk. Your news at noon starts now. And thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Gordon. We begin here at noon with breaking news. The medical examiner has identified the 2 people who have been confirmed dead following that car crash into the Willamette River. They are 19-year-old Roberto Garcia Chavez and 17-year-old Trent Badillo. Both are from the Beaver Creek area. Investigators believe Garcia Chavez was the driver of the car. A third occupant who was rescued from the river has been confirmed as a 17-year-old boy, although he is not being identified at this time. The fourth occupant, who has still not been located, is believed to be a 20-year-old man. Well, the man accused in a stabbing at a bar in the Pearl District late last year is pleading not guilty to assault and other charges. Tony Taylor Jr. was arraigned this morning after his arrest on Wednesday, following a months-long investigation into that stabbing at the River Pig Saloon in December. Sunrise reporter Corey Johnson joins us live with details on his arraignment. Corey.
Yeah, good afternoon, Tim. Court documents show investigators use surveillance video as well as phone data to identify Taylor as a suspect in that stabbing incident months later. Now, we were at his arraignment earlier in the morning where Taylor pleaded not guilty to 7 charges, including first and second degree assault, unlawful use of a weapon, and menacing. Now, police arrested Taylor Wednesday morning in Northeast Portland. Investigators say this stems from a December 20th stabbing at the River Pig Saloon, where officers found a woman stabbed in the torso. She was taken to the hospital, treated, and later released. Court documents also show the victim told investigators a man pushed her outside the bar. When she pushed him back, police say he became aggressive and stabbed her in the lower abdomen, causing her to need surgery. Detectives say surveillance video shows a man later identified as Taylor arriving just before 11:30 that night and leaving about 15 minutes later. They also say phone data placed him in the area at the time. Now, KGW also spoke with those in the community following.
It doesn't seem like the place a stabbing would happen. I feel like the Pearl District, I'm here a lot. I'm here as, a woman walking around here at night by myself. I think the Pearl District is still really safe.
Now, in court earlier today, the judge also ordered that Taylor have no contact with the victim in the case. His next hearing is set for July. Tim?
All right, Corey, thank you very much. And developing this afternoon, Portland police are trying to figure out how a car got lodged into the front of the Multnomah Athletic Club and hit a pedestrian along the way. It happened just before 7 o'clock last night. Portland police say the driver sideswiped another car on Southwest Salmon Street and then veered into the planter box at the club entrance. You see the vehicle there. The person hit was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Aside from the metal stairs, the building itself doesn't appear to be damaged. Police say the driver is cooperating with investigators and that there were no signs of impairment. Well, in a phone call with NBC News this morning, President Donald Trump said he is very optimistic a peace deal with Iran is within reach. He went on to say the 2 sides are agreeing on all the points, but still said, quote, "It's going to be very painful if Tehran doesn't agree to the deal." The president added that he spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about ongoing strikes in Lebanon. He said Netanyahu agreed to start negotiations to establish more peaceful relations with their neighbor. Talks are expected to start next week. And those strikes have threatened to derail U.S. talks with Iran. Tehran closed the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israel's actions just hours after agreeing to reopen it. Oil prices ticked back up today after a sharp dip yesterday over concerns about the fragile ceasefire. Now, coming up in our next half hour, we hear from a local wheat farmer or two who fear the strain from high gas prices could cost them their business. New at noon, Governor Tina Kotek has signed several bills into law, all aimed at providing support to immigrant communities. Among the most notable is House Bill 4138, which requires officers to clearly identify themselves and limits when they can wear masks. And Senate Bill 1570, which instructs hospitals and medical centers to implement policies and procedures for if law enforcement shows up, such as designating which parts of the hospital will be closed to the public. You can find the full list of bills signed into law on our website, kgw.com. Well, today, local leaders held a special event to celebrate the return of the Thompson Elk to its Main Street home in downtown Portland after nearly 6 years out of the public eye. Crews hoisted the elk back up onto its pedestal about an hour ago. Many remember when the elk was removed in July of 2020 after inspectors found serious damage to its stone base following nightly protests. Since then, crews have rebuilt the fountain and upgraded the surrounding area. The elk statue itself has also been restored, cleaned up, and with a fresh coat of wax ahead of its return. Looking pretty good there going up. A larger public celebration set for Sunday with food carts, community booths, and a ribbon cutting. All right, let's get a check now on the weather with Chris McGinnis. Pretty nice out.
Couldn't be nicer for that. As we go to this afternoon, we got clear blue sky. I mean, is there a cloud in the sky right now in Lincoln City? I don't see. You're going to have to look really, really hard. Maybe a little faint cirrus cloud there. It's really nice along the Central Oregon coast. 61 degrees at lunchtime. The view from the springs at the waterfront here in Vancouver, looking down over the Interstate Bridge and the Columbia River, that looks gorgeous as well, with the light northwest breeze in 62. Up and down the I-5 corridor, enjoying sun as well. This is Salem, mostly sunny in 62. And last but not least, over downtown Portland, Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams off in the distance, and 61 degrees at PDX. So a good looking day today, a little warmer than yesterday. We got to 69 yesterday. We're shooting for highs in the mid 70s this afternoon. So it's going to feel a little toasty out there later today. Sunset at 7:49. You know, we've gained like 4.5 hours of daylight since the winter solstice. We're still tacking on 3 minutes a day light each day, so that's kind of cool. Visible satellite imagery showing some cloud cover to the south. Those clouds actually yielding some showers and some thunderstorms across northern California and extreme southern Oregon. And some of those may start to creep our way tomorrow. That's part of our forecast heading into the weekend in just a few minutes, Tim.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, here's a look at some national headlines this afternoon. A key inflation gauge tracked by the Federal Reserve was stubbornly high in February, even before the start of the war in Iran. The Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index climbed 0.4% from January to February. Compared to a year ago, prices have increased 2.8%, above the Fed's 2% target rate. Today's data was delayed due to a backlog of reports from last October's government shutdown. And closing arguments are happening today in the antitrust case against event company Live Nation. Dozens of state attorneys general accuse the company and its subsidiary Ticketmaster of illegally monopolizing live concerts. The company argues they're bringing business professionalism to the live events industry, which competitors have replicated. It's not clear when the judge will issue a ruling. Lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs will be in court today arguing for his release. Combs is currently serving a 50-month sentence after being convicted last summer on prostitution-related charges. His lawyers say he was engaging in voyeurism and amateur pornography, which they say is protected by the First Amendment. They argue people convicted of similar crimes only receive sentences of 15 months.
It was over 100 grams of fentanyl, which for some perspective, he had over 600 blue pills on him. He had over 20 small prepackaged spindles on him.
A notorious drug dealer in Portland is now facing more than 5 years in prison. Police say Eber Cruz was dealing fentanyl 2 blocks from a school downtown. Police had been surveilling that area for months because the surrounding blocks were a particular hotspot for drug dealing at the time. Now, this is body cam video of his arrest in November of 2024. But this isn't his first arrest. He was also arrested in June of 2024 for fentanyl-related charges. DA Nathan Vasquez indicated that he made bail on the first offense, but these charges are more serious.
On the one hand, I want to support everyone who's suffering from substance use disorder into getting into treatment. On the other hand, I want to make sure that we are swift, certain, and strong when it comes to those individuals that would poison our community members.
Cruz is expected to be sentenced sometime this summer.